Hi, this is Dave with AnnArborBeer.com. I'm here in Westland, at Ashley's Westland, for the Brewery Throwdown. Tonight's matchup is Victory Brewing out of Pennsylvania, the lone non-Michigan brewery, against Michigan Brewing. And I am here with Cameron from Victory, and we're going to talk about the beers they brought tonight. Let's start, Cameron, with the, we'll go dark to light here, and you have brought Prima Pils. Tell me a little bit about Prima Pils.
Sure. Prima Pils is actually, it's one of the beers that we're the most proud of as a brewery because brewing a Pilsner, especially on the scale in which we brew this beer, if you take a look at it, you notice how light and golden the beer is. It's a European style Pilsner, very floral, very aromatic. You pick up a lot of those Germanic hops on it. Exactly, correct. We use a lot of Tettnang, Saaz, Hallertauer, Spalt, so it creates a lot of that, very bright flavor. You get like crackers, grassy, grainy at the beginning, and then you get this really nice explosion of like these really, like you said, noble hops, earthy hops that are just very juicy, and it finishes very bright, very crisp. It's one of the beers that we're the most proud of because once again, a Pilsner is very hard to make. It's hard to hide imperfections in the Pilsner, so to speak. It's not like you can just throw hops on top of it. So once again, for a European Pilsner, I think we've kind of nailed that style.
I would tend to agree. Moving on, so we're going from lager to ale now. You brought Headwaters Pale Ale. So we're going from lager, a little less crisp, to more of the floral of an ale. Tell me a little bit about what goes in Headwaters Pale Ale.
Sure.
And what's the name about it, Headwaters?
Well, Headwaters is actually a beer that we introduced last year. Victory Brewing Company, on their 15th anniversary last year in February, we introduced Headwaters as our 15th anniversary beer. We took a different tack than most people. Instead of doing like a limited edition, chocolate IPA, we decided to release Pale Ale. Very approachable style. And we decided to call it Headwaters. And the name came from the fact that we actually derive most of our waters for our brewery from a place called Brandywine Creek. And what we have done is we partnered with the water conservation efforts in terms of trying to conserve that creek and make sure that it remains as pure as possible. And what we've done is we've actually donated money. Every sale that we make of Headwaters goes back to making sure that gets donated back to that cause. A really cool thing about Headwaters is that it's a Citra hop pale ale. Citra is one of those new IPA, or not one of those new IPAs, one of those new hops where not only is it cool within the mass production world, but it's also cool with the home brewers. It's one of those hops where the name implies these very bold flavors, very bold aromas, and one of the things I like the most about Headwaters is that it's very aromatic. It smells like it's going to be a huge hop bomb. It smells like it's going to be assaulting your taste buds with all these crazy hops. You drink it and it's very mild, smooth. It's bitter, but it's not overwhelming.
For sure. Speaking of bitter, though, let's move on to Hop Devil, which is your next one. Probably people in Michigan are very familiar with Hop Devil. It's been around for a bit in bottles. It's your IPA. Tell me a bit about Hop Devil.
Sure. Hop Devil, it's our flagship beer. It's we've been brewing it since 1996 when we first opened up. As I said, we celebrated our anniversary last year, and that's been the old standard, so to speak. Now, one thing that I want to mention about this beer is you look at the color of it. Yeah. It's not a typical IPA. It's definitely got a darker color, a little bit more of a copper color, and I think it's the maltiness. Because of that color, it allows it to be a much more balanced IPA. This is, in my opinion, it's a perfect gateway IPA because of that balance. It allows for a nice introduction, so to speak, with the malts. It's smooth, and then it has just the tiniest little bit of bitterness that doesn't overwhelm you, but it's lasting. It's on the palate for a while, and then it kind of dissipates.
Yeah, some people who might be scared of hops would still maybe like this because like you said, the balance. It's not all hops.
It's a perfect food beer. It goes well with a lot of different styles of food, and I think that's best served in terms of acclimating someone to that beer in particular.
And your next beer, the fourth one, is called Yakima Glory. I think it was called Yakima Twilight before. This is also an IPA, but it's a dark IPA. So it's a seasonal, I think, right?
Correct.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, we released it. You're correct in the aspect that we did name it originally Yakima Twilight. We ran into some problems with that, so we renamed it Yakima Glory. It is our winter seasonal, and with it being a winter seasonal, we were aiming for something. Most people when they think of winter, they think stouts, very malty beers, big ABVs, and in a way, we kind of synthesized all that in with the trends of hoppiness, and we took and we made a dark IPA. You look at that color; it's very rust colored, dark brown. It's an interesting color and it's an interesting style. I get a lot of roastiness on it. When you first bring it up to your nose, you catch a lot of different aromatics that you wouldn't associate with an IPA. So you're not really prepared for it when you drink it, and then you get this wonderful blast of hoppiness, and bitterness, and it's almost tangy in the sense because it offsets some of those roasty qualities of the beer. A really cool thing that I want to mention about all these beers, and in particular Yakima Glory, is that we use whole flower hops. So we don't use no pellets, no extracts. Everything is whole flower hopped, and I think that's what brings a lot of that quality to Yakima Glory.
It's got a freshness to it. So, 15 years. What's in store for Victory in 2012?
Big things. We're going to be bringing out. We're going to be focusing on Summer Love in the summer, which is our hoppy blonde ale, and we're also going to be doing a lot more in terms of focusing on these beers in particular, trying to drive those sales and making sure that the customers get what they want, and that's good quality, fresh beer.
Amen. Thanks for talking to us, Cameron.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Much appreciated.